Hello everyone, my name is Steven Zapata. I'm a concept artist, illustrator, online art teacher, and former instructor at Art Center College of Design. I would like to introduce you to my new drawing course, Form from Imagination, a course designed to help you draw with confidence from your mind. Maybe you want to be a professional illustrator or designer, maybe you want to be a master with a pencil, or maybe you just want to be the best artist that you can be. Beautiful goals, but it's not always clear how to improve the work that you do from imagination. Over the past 6 months, I've taken all of the little eurekas, tips, and essential exercises that gave me confidence drawing from my mind and compiled them into a sequential course. We start with the absolute foundations, covering the scientific nature of light and shadow, how to hatch, how to create flat tones, how to render spheres and cubes, and step by step, we move through combined shapes, complex shapes, organic shapes. We cover how to simplify extremely complex subjects like the head into basic shapes so that you can handle them more easily from your head. We look at how to understand and treat details. And by the end of these 14 chapters with over 50 video lessons, you'll be ready to do complex designs from your mind with fidelity and energy. And all the demos are done in pencil on paper, so you can do all of the assignments even if you don't have a fancy digital art setup. But I also have demos, instructions, and modifications to the assignments for those who do want to do them digitally. Here's how it works. Go to formfromimagination.com and sign up for the course. Download the assignment book and start watching the lectures. Do the assignments at your own pace. Take your time with them and use this self-study to develop your patience. When you're done, post your assignments in the exclusive community hub, and I'll personally critique your work with drawovers, diagrams, and advice. I want you to know, this course is no joke just because it's online. It is challenging content, and it is more complete than it would be if I was teaching this class at an art college as I have before. If I was teaching this class in person at Art Center today, I would just play these videos in class, knowing full well that they're the most concise, focused, edited, step-by-step way to convey the material. So I'm serious when I say, this course isn't just a substitute for a college level course, it's better than a college level course. And you don't have to pay thousands of dollars per credit and wind up hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. So thank you for checking out the course. Thank you for watching this and for your support. And thank you for drawing and making your artwork. The world needs it. I'll see you soon.
Come in. Oh.
Hello, Joseph, is it?
Hi, Dr. Zapata. Yes, Joe. How are you?
I'm well. What seems to be the problem, Joe?
Well, I'm having difficulty drawing from imagination.
Oh, Joseph, just so you know, that's totally normal. Why don't you tell me a little more about your problem? Is it that you can only draw from imagination if you're completely alone?
Doc, I can't ever draw from imagination.
What about if you're completely relaxed?
When I'm totally relaxed, I can't imagine a thing.
I see. Joseph, it's important to know that even with severe cases like this, there's always hope. I can prescribe an experimental therapy called Form from Imagination.
Form from imagination?
Mm-hmm. It's early days, but clinical trials are extremely promising. Why don't you try this for 6 months and then check back in with me?
Okay, I'll do whatever it takes. Did you just draw this?
Oh yeah.
Wow, it's amazing. Hey, Doc, do you ever have trouble drawing from imagination?
Oh no.
You wouldn't. I mean, you do this.
That's right.
Wow.
Form from Imagination is an experimental therapy and is not yet approved for use by the FDA. Do not use Form from Imagination if you are already taking any prescriptions for drawing from reference, working side size, or tracing photos you didn't even take. Stop taking Form from Imagination if you experience any of these side effects: loss of interest in your personal projects, megalomaniacal self-confidence, hallucinations, unless they're the kind you're hoping for, drawing better than Steven Zapata, or feelings that purchasing the course was enough and you don't really need to do the exercises. Call your doctor if you have stiff gestures, flat forms, or boring ideas to address a possible life-threatening condition. Full sketchbooks have been reported with form from imagination and medicines like it. Other risks include long-term art careers, too many clients, and being worth more than you're charging for. Call your doctor today and ask about form from imagination.
Oh. Oh. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Ugh. Emerging from my dusty sarcophagus, bursting forth from my hideous cocoon, arising from a sacred grave in which I have been entombed, meditating on the very nature of art itself. I'm back, baby. Ooh, it's been a bit. It has been a bit. Hello, Art Dad, Jade, Rappy, the artist, Aki, Pito, Andrew, Maxim, Aldrin Miles, Partosa, For Blasphemy, Battle Ready Babe, Zero Tank, Black Asylum, Ryan. Hello, everybody. Is it really you? It me. It's me. Moving some things around over here. Can you guys hear me okay? Do I sound all right? I don't know if we'll listen to some music on this stream. I'll play a little bit of music just to see how the audio level is. Can you guys just hear that? Just hear that Zoomer, just hear that music lately? I said Zoomer because I just read no Zoomer cut, must have been rough lately. I can turn this into a Zoomer cut. This hair is pretty pliable. Right now it's kind of pushed back. If I just kind of yank it forward, it'll turn into a Zoomer cloud. Your audio is ripe. I hope that means that it's okay, acceptable. Ryan Gutierrez, how are you? How you doing? Glad you could catch the stream as well. Axe says, we miss you, Steve. Get that broccoli. It's there. Right now it's tamed. The broccoli's never far away. Hi, Steven. How you been lately? Oh, I've been busy. I've been busy. I think it's been like 3 months since I did a stream or something like that, and that's just because I've been in the hole working on the design course. Just burrowing down on the design course. Art Dad says, I won't be able to stay long. Got to take my kiddo to Touch a Truck, climbing inside construction vehicles event this morning, but I'll make sure to circle back around and watch the VOD later. That's awesome. Have fun, Art Dad. Orange Fruit says, Steven, I can't believe you want me to stop everything I'm doing just to watch this stream. How arrogant. What could I say? I've always been pretty arrogant. I've always been pretty arrogant. So what's going on, guys? Enough about me. What's up with y'all? What's the word? What are you working on? What are you drawing lately? Is it digital day? I think today we're doing digital. I was wanting to do traditional, but for the design course, I have my camera in a very particular setup and position, which I can just use it for a face cam like this, but I really didn't want to mess with everything, undo it all to put it up on the rig to draw traditional. So I decided to keep it digital. It's a real pain in the ass to undo the I've got like problems with my tripod. It's propped up on a ledge. It's actually like up against a wall. So it's like, if I move the camera, it's a total pain to get everything back in position. Need consistent shots. Consistent shots. I've been learning to draw cameras, says Art Apprentice. That's interesting. That's a new one on me. Why? Are you just a super camera fan? Hi, Joey. How are you, bud? Honorwood says, since Steven's stream is back, I'm finally allowed to draw again, right? That is correct. That is correct. Now you can draw again. Now you can draw again. Thank you for pronouncing my name correctly. No problem. Ryan Gutierrez. All right. Let's do this thing. I'm into polar bears lately. Now that I like. That's good. Sorry if you're getting loud pops while I adjust my microphone. Give me a second here. I don't have much of a drawing plan today. Just trying to get back into streaming again. I pulled up a random photo reference pack that has to do with something I was doing for the course, slightly relevant. So I'm probably just going to do some studies. Even though I'm kind of done with that, but I don't know, the topic's still on my mind, so. Hello, Cody. Black says, I legit went into musician mode since his last stream and haven't drawn anything for more than 10 hours since. Wow. See what happens? You guys drop your guard as soon as I leave. Musician mode. I'm going to try a new thing and keep chat on my screen. I can't really do that with something more complicated, but since I'm just sketching, I'm going to try keeping chat on my screen so that I have to look up less. I can just keep my head down. Steven is surprisingly good at pronouncing non-American English names. That's funny because whenever I pronounce them, I'm basically joking. I am half joking every time I do that. Battle Ready Babe says, acrylic painting this morning. Wonderful. That's awesome. I forget my tablet pen shortcuts for... I am in a new app. I don't think you guys have seen me use this one before. It's called Leonardo. It is I'm pretty sure it's not being developed anymore. I think it has been abandoned. I haven't seen any updates for it in a long time. It's a very simple, unfinished app, and I'm in love. I've been using it a lot lately. It has a very simple brush engine. You know, I really just use the regular hard round brush in it. It only has that many brush options right now. What is that? Eight brush options. Simplicity, I don't resent. I've spent enough time in Photoshop with every possible tool available to me that I don't resent simplicity at all. I like that it focuses me. But the big thing, it has an acceptable brush engine and it's infinite canvas. You can just keep going, sketch as much as you want. I used it for a bunch of design sessions for demos in the design course, and I've fallen in love. I like it a lot. By the way, Steven, the setup upgrade looks amazing. You're finally a proper professional streamer. This setup was for the design course. I am not a pro streamer. If you guys want to make me a full-time streamer by supporting me, either by giving donos here or supporting on Patreon, or I think I might open YouTube membership soon so that YouTube people can get into the community Discord, stuff like that. If hypothetically you wanted to support me like that and put in the effort to make me a full-time streamer, I wouldn't say no. I'd do it. All I have to do is draw and have fun all day. I'd do it. I'm just saying. But this setup is not about being a professional streamer. I upgraded this setup and put money into it and all that for the design course, to make the design course look great. It's just a secondary benefit that It's just a secondary benefit that it also makes for a good streaming setup. Good Vibe says, hey, Steven, exciting to see you back at it again. I'm working on one of my comics right now, so it's good to have a reasonable voice to listen to while I draw. Reasonable? Me? Me? Reasonable? I have been accused of being many things, but reasonable? That's a rare one. That is a rare one. I'm happy that you're here, though. Open the YouTube memberships, please. Yeah, I was checking that out the other day. I just want to open up options for more people to get the Discord access. I'm just trying to figure out how to like balance that. I think if I do that, I'm gonna make it like $1 cheaper per month than the Patreon, because there's like years of backlog stuff on Patreon that I can't really post to YouTube. There's a lot of like podcasts and Q&As that I never uploaded anywhere else. I have like high-res scans of my pencil drawings on there for people to check out. So since there's like extra things on there that can't really go on the YouTube, I think the Patreon should be a little more. And then the YouTube membership would get you into the Discord, and then, you know, the usual stuff that comes with it would get you fun emojis and flares in chat and things like that. Just gonna do a bunch of quick sketches to get the old hand going here. Been doing more typing than drawing lately. Actually, that's not true. Past couple of months were very drawing heavy, but in general, the past year, a lot of writing scripts, doing curriculum, recording videos. No Name says, yo, I caught a live stream. Well, shit. Guess I need to start drawing ASAP. Let's go. That's what you sound like, right? I'm sure that's what you sound like. Well, shit. Cody says, my younger brother started oil painting landscapes a few weeks ago, won a competition for $900 at his work. Thought that was really cool. I've been encouraging him and recommend your channel to him. Aw, thank you, Cody. That's awesome. He won a competition, huh? And he only just got into landscape painting and oils? That's awesome. How encouraging that must be for him. We could all use a little encouragement, right? It's nice when a good thing happens in art. Because for a lot of us, there's long dry spells where it feels like nothing good happens with the art for years, decades. So when someone has something encouraging happen, oh man, it's good. That was 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Michelangelo voice. Yeah, I call him Michelangelo instead of Michelangelo, whatever. I don't remember Michelangelo ever saying, well, shit. I have to admit, I didn't really watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're turtles who know Asian martial arts. They're turtles. Man, that was a great theme song, huh? I didn't watch the show, but I love the theme song. Gets stuck in your head. They're turtles. Turtles who know Asian martial arts. It's not from Asia. It was made in America. It's not racist. Chill. Chill. Oh, I should have been drawing more zoomed out. My sketches are really, they're growing on me here. Emperador Mendigo says, sup, Steven, my boy. Nothing much. Nothing much. Everything totally normal around here. You know how it is. Black Aslam says, life is suffering. We find meaning in graphite bits. That's right, baby. Life is suffering. Take your joys where you can get them. Life is suffering. Turn inward. React to nothing. Desire nothing but your own awareness. The Urameshi cut looks good. I don't know who that is. But given that you're comparing them to me, I'm gonna assume that they're a super handsome, cool guy who's extremely high charisma and everybody likes. And if Urameshi is not that, I'm gonna be mad. Real mad. Zach Anathos says, awesome to see you, Steven. Awesome to see you too, Zach Anathos. Steven, if there's a magical fiction land you'd want to live in, where would that be? Given that I'm an artist, if that option was available to me, I couldn't live in somebody else's. I'd have to live in a fiction land of my own making. And that would be awesome. What kind of deal do I get to cut with the genie, right? Like when the genie says he's going to send me to the fictional magical land of my choosing, do I get to say, whoa, hold up. Give me 50 years. Give me 50 years to make it my life's work to design every corner of it, every creature, every story moment, everything, every little detail. The wall sconces, the windows, the clothing that people or animals or creatures or spiritual beings wear or don't wear, or is projected in a sort of ethereal way into the minds of people who are interacting with these spiritual things. And then also let me design the mental effects of interacting with those spiritual beings. And let me go in there and do all of the story beats and design all of the heroes and then find a nice place for myself. Give me 50 years to do that. And then put me in, Genie baby. Let's do this. Genie man, Genie my man. Genie my man. Put me in, baby. I'm ready. It'd be scary. It's my taste. I would not make it a fun place just because I'm going in it. I know what I want to see. It would be freaky, and it's all right. I'd be surrounded by freaky. I'm one of the gods of that place. I'll be all right. Give me roiling bodies. Give me threatening realms. Give me beasts and creatures of scales and statures unimaginable. Give me betrayals, friendships, losses, grief. Give me everything that we already have in this world. It's interesting. Did you try Expedition 33 or is it too baguette? I haven't heard that one. Is it too baguette for you? It's a French team that made it, right? No, I haven't tried it. I've been too busy, fam. I am up to my eyeballs in stuff I gotta make. It looks cool. I saw a few clips of people playing it. The art direction seems... As I like when people follow through on a specific theme that other people don't really do much, and at least me personally, I haven't actually gone to look at it, but it looks specifically French. Like I saw some clips of like somebody fighting like a mime enemy. It was like a French mime based thing, and I was like, that's awesome. That's how you do it. Stay on theme, baby. That's cool. Goodbye, Lack. I love Leonardo. I love that I can just keep scrolling to the right and just do the next sketch. As long as you're not looking for anything fancy, it's so good for that. If anybody knows the guy who made Leonardo, ask him. Is it still on his to-do list? Is he gonna keep working on it? I bought it. Even though I could tell that it was basically abandonware, I'm like, this is good enough that I'm buying it. I'm buying the beta that's probably never gonna turn into a full release. Hello, Paper Moon. Da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci. Not my favorite Renaissance Old Master. That goes to Michelangelo. Da Vinci was a little effete and privileged for my taste. I'm just kidding. They were all gentleman artists back then. If you read the stories, though, he was a bit unlike the others. He was definitely I mean, all artists are pretentious, but it seems Leonardo was taking it to the next level. Old Masters tier list when? I mean, it depends what Old Masters you're talking about. Like, do you just mean everyone who's dead? Because that's a really difficult Old Master list. But Renaissance Old Masters is Michelangelo. It's Michelangelo. I mean, Raphael is good. Donatello is good. Da Vinci was smarter than probably anybody alive at the time. But personally, for the art, I'm least interested in Da Vinci's. But nobody touches Michelangelo. I mean, he was the best. Raphael's good too, but he doesn't have the breadth that sweet, sweet Michael did. If you're talking just all dead artists, that's hard. I mean, there's some, probably everyone's going to have a Sergeant somewhere near the top of the list, but once you start getting away from Sergeant, it gets real subjective real fast. It's like, do you mean just for skill? Do you mean for cultural impact? Do you mean for personal bravery? Do you mean for an interesting life story? Like, so much is involved. I have to admit, I'm a Durer enjoyer. He was great. He was great. Hello, Ignas Puikis. Are you familiar with Michelangelo's neck injury? They ruined him. He could have been even better. He needed to be nerfed somehow. Javon Napoli says, if you like this software, I know My Paint is similar with an infinite canvas, is free, and I'm fairly certain still gets updates if you want to give that a feel. I use it for digital sketching. I will note that. I'll check it out. The thing that I liked about Leonardo is that I really like the feel of the brushes. Again, there's only 8, but I like especially the inking pen and the round brush. They feel like what I'm used to in Photoshop, and that rarely happens whenever I try another program. Not every program needs to try to be like Photoshop's brushes, right? Photoshop's brushes kind of suck, but I've been using the hard round and the pressure sensitivity round since I was 13 years old, so it's like I'm very used to them. They're like my safe place for digital. Thank you, Wada. Good to see you. Gabuda says, who are your favorite painters of the 60s, 70s sci-fi fantasy era? I mean, without a doubt, Frank Frazetta blows everybody else out of the water. I mean, no one's surprised to hear that, but he's a great of any era. I mean, he was a next level draftsman. Richard Corbin is great. That's kind of really, he's like a high bar for camp. You know, it's definitely not the modern taste, but I really like a lot of Corbin's work. Oh God, I'm blanking on their name. Who are the brothers who did the Lord of the Rings calendars? Starts with an H. The Hildebrandt brothers. Is it Hildebrand or Hildebrandt? You all know who I'm talking about. The Hildebrandt brothers, I think, are really, really good. And man, they really work their ass off for their paintings, you can tell. Like, before our modern tools and ubiquity of references and all of that, to come up with such cool art directions for things. Really awesome. Can I get a good reference website? I don't like Pinterest lately. Pinterest sucks. Wikipedia. I hate Pinterest. I was actually just recording a video about this the other day for the design course. Books are still where it's at. Books are still better than anything that you'll find online. I hate to tell you all. Should probably, but my recommendation is generally start on Wikipedia for a particular topic if you can to get an introduction. Use what's on Wikipedia to increase your Google Fu, so learning specific vocabulary words about the kind of thing that you're making. That goes way farther than just typing in a generic term for something. If you know even one specific piece of vocabulary about the thing you're trying to reference, that will completely change your Google searches. And then from those Google searches, go to weird websites that individuals have made. Stay off of Instagram, stay off of Pinterest, stay off of Facebook, just, these 5 websites that have taken over the entire internet and a lot of people just consider to be the internet now. Ignore those. Go to somebody's thesis project from graduating from college where they were an expert on this thing and it was part of their graduation thesis that they had to make a website about that topic. That's where you want to get references. What's your opinion on conceptual modern art? Like anything, there's good stuff and there's bad stuff. I have to admit that the people who just think, the people who have never, I'm from New York, born and raised in New York City, the people who have never been to a conceptual art show and seen a piece that blew them away, when people like that really punch above their weight and talk like they're art historians and they start casting aspersions on that entire field, you are entitled to your opinion. You sound stupid. Sorry. I mean, it's that simple. You are, of course, allowed to not like it yourself, but the way people get up in arms and say that it's a psyop, it's the degeneration of our society, it's objectively ugly. I laugh whenever anybody says something is objectively ugly. Oh, the idea that anything in art could be objective. It's just like you just totally betrayed that you have not thought about art for more than an hour. Like, Jesus Christ. Stupid, laughable. Oh, man. It's like, this is coming from a guy who draws goblins on the internet. I'm not, I know where I'm coming from. It's just silly. It's silly to talk that way. BTT, what's up? Is it really me? I think so. You think the Knicks are going to win the championship, Steven? I don't follow sports. Sorry, that's a blind spot in my life. I don't think I've ever been to a basketball game. Yeah, I don't think so. I pulled these references from Proco, by the way. I believe these are what's her name? Satine Zila pack, I'm pretty sure. If you guys are interested, you can go check them out on Proco in the Proco Tools category. Hey, Steven, what music are you listening to at the moment? That made me check, am I playing music right now? And I'm not. I'm really deep in the work hole right now. And whenever I'm deep in the hole, I usually just loop songs over and over again. So I'm not listening to much. I'm not listening to a good variety of music. I have a work night playlist that me and my wife use that is full of groovy songs that we've collected over the years, and I've just been looping that. So it's all over the place. I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to run to the restroom. DJ says, hey, Steven, I'm 36 and just starting to learn how to draw. Do you think it's still financially worth it to invest in an art career at this point, considering my age and AI and all? To invest in an art career, it really depends what you mean by that. First of all, this is such a difficult question to answer because everybody has different conditions in their life, right? So there's no gate where it's like, oh, you're 36, you can't be a professional artist, right? And I'm assuming here that you mean, because you said invest in art career, you want to be a professional artist. Correct me if that's not the case, if you kind of meant more just doing art a lot, heavy hobbyist or something like that. But there is no gate, no generalizable gate where you're too old now or something like that. And people come in with varying like levels of time in their life. You know, you may be 36, but maybe you have a lot of free time, just like your life situation. You've got a job that doesn't take up all of your life. Maybe you're financially independent, so you don't really need to work that much anymore. People have all sorts of different life situations. Also, people have varying levels of talent, and that's important, right? Like some people are going to start with less talent, and they're going to need to invest more time, more effort. Me. Some people just have more talent, right? In heavy air quotes, because the word talent is abused, but just like, I think of talent as you're focused on one specific thing and you happen to have a temperament for that thing, which is not guaranteed for everybody, right? Some people are going to have a lot of talent, a lot of that alignment, and they'll go from zero to being a professional in 5 years or whatever. And to begin a new career, especially one that you might really enjoy, like artist, by the time you're 41, it's like, that's young. That's a long time that you get to be an artist, and it's a hard thing for anybody to do. So it's very difficult to answer that question outside of people's specifics. In general, so here's the general thing that I say, and this is not what a lot of people want to hear because it's not really focused on the career, right? But for most creative people, if you do not make room in your life to be actively creative regularly, you will go crazy. And I mean crazy. You will ruin your mental health. You'll wind up hurting other people in your life and yourself. You'll resent the world. You'll wind up making the world a world place day by day. You'll just lose. You'll waste the one life that you have being envious and comparative and small-minded and petty for the rest of your life. That's mostly, in my experience, when people feel their creativity is restrained, it does that to them. It makes them crazy in that way. And to me, I'm like, forget a career, forget making a living off of it. If that's what's on the table, If you are burdened with the art demon and you don't do something about it, that's an existential blow to your existence. Like, there's got to be a better way to live than that. And AI, no one knows what's going to happen with AI. I would not base what you're going to do with your future on AI at this point. If I felt confident saying something about what you should do based on AI, and I've been plugged in on it, I would tell you, but no one knows what's going to happen with that. I think it's very dangerous to base something as close to your heart as your art future on AI at this point. If that changed, I'd tell you. I'd be like, bro, the AI situation is very hard. Don't do it. And it is very hard, but I don't think it's at the point where people should be abandoning art because of AI. I really don't. It's a dramatic time with that, though. Did you guys see the other day the U.S. Copyright Office being on the right side of history with saying that fair use probably doesn't protect training? Woo! That was nice to read. That was nice to read. What was not nice to read was then finding out that all of the bosses over there got fired immediately after releasing that. Cool. Cool. Steven, have you ever used the lab color space in Photoshop? Lucas, is that you? Is that you, Lucas? Don't try to trick me. My editor is a big proponent of lab. And yeah, I've tried it. I don't use it some people do. I know a few people who do, but you know, I grew up in RGB, HSV. I'm used to thinking that way when I use the color picker. And I've never, I think if you're the kind of person who wants to try to make parts of painting and drawing like very objective, right? Like, I think it can be useful, but I was never like that. Like, I'm never moving the color picker in Photoshop based on, all right, well, a perfect linear progression should equal a perfect linear increase in brightness as in relation to chroma. I get why you would want that, but I've always made my decisions about colors optically the same way that I would painting traditionally. So it's not really for me, you know? It never rose to importance for me. And it's just not, the sliders themselves are quite unnatural to use. I mean, you have to get used to just moving in between that spectrum of 4 colors and lightness instead of the more natural colors that we choose. Renola Dominguez, hello. Brushbug says, oh my god, yay, Steven's drawing anime. The immortal words of Ahmed Al-Duri quoting some Disney movie that I don't remember. Guards, seize this man. LJ Ventresca says, Steven, where is the line that you don't consider it anime anymore for you? If I didn't draw it, it's anime. It's that simple, not complicated. Albion says, Steven, do you think Angelo was a gooner? God. I should have been born in 1450. What am I doing here with you guys? What am I doing here with you guys? I'm doing everything that I can to save you all, and you all refuse. You have no idea the help that's being offered here. The great god Art, for some reason, elected that I should be born in this era, in this benighted age. I can only assume that there was great work that needed to be done that only I could do. Fine, fine. Whatever you say, Art. I will shepherd them, whatever your purposes. But There is so much work to be done. Skibidi Zapata. Oh my god. You guys need to get serious. If you guys don't get a handle on yourselves, you're all gonna sink into a black hole of Italian brain rot and never come back. Steven, are you reading this nonsense? Just barely. I squint at it. From the shape of the sentences, I get sort of the gestalt of how reprobate everybody is, and I just react to that. I don't want to poison my beautiful diamond mind with their low words. My body is a temple. Hello, average. Stephen was born to be the head of the goon shepherd flock. My God. Let this cup pass from my lips. What's your methods for measuring and proportions? These days I don't use any because my main goal is working from imagination on most of the things that I do for myself. And when you do that, there's very little that you can measure off of. So I try not to build the habit of falling back on measuring. When I do, I use the standard practices. You know, I'll drop a plumb line. So that's a perfect vertical or perfect horizontal, but you know, in real life, a perfect vertical is easier to drop. I'll drop a plumb line, grid something if I need to, If you're drawing from life, really a plumb line is all you can do. And I do the classic art school, hold your hand out for angles and compare angles and things like that. If a pose is really like foreshortened or something like that, I'll do the extension of this where you measure by holding your thumb to block part of the pencil. So I'll see like, all right, this is a really foreshortened pose. So usually I'll use this to measure the legs or something like that and see the actual shape of the legs, how much smaller or bigger is it than the shape of the torso to sort of compensate for the proportion distortion. But again, that's only if I'm working from well, usually I don't even do it from a photo, but I'll do that at life drawing still, because life drawing is a good place where it makes sense to be accurate. But if I'm just sketching for myself, if I'm doing studies like these, I don't measure, because I'm not going to measure when I do my personal work. Stephen, when did you start taking art seriously, like learning basics and stuff? 14. 14 was about the age that I realized there were basic pieces of knowledge and exercises you could do to improve. I don't quite remember what the first of that I did was, but I know I started around there because I have memories of doing copies of anatomical drawings of skeletons in my religion class, and I only had that religion class in my freshman year. So I know, and I was 14 when I was a freshman in high school. So I know at bottom, like it's possible I did some stuff before that, but that's my earliest memory. And that was specifically for anatomical purposes. At that point, I realized, no one had ever really told me before. At that point, I realized that if you want to draw people better, it's a good idea to understand the bones and the muscles. So that's where I started. What would be a way to manufacture that intuition of proportions? I found time gesture drawing has helped me, but what else? It's just everything. Proportion is such a deeply ingrained part of everything in art because it's one of the principles of design, right? Generally, I group scale, ratio, and proportion into one. And the thing about the principles of design is that they are occurring in every moment of visual perception. So everything is occurring within a proportion / ratio. All things are experienced by the visual system through a lens of proportion. So it is involved with absolutely everything. So to develop an intuition towards it is just about being aware and focused as much as possible as you practice. And like everything in art, the answer is it is going to take you 30 fucking years to get good at this thing. So you have plenty of time to figure it out. The most important thing is sit there and do it today. That's the most important thing. That doesn't mean you can't have a career for 30 years, but you actually don't need to be great at art for all art careers. You really don't. What you're thinking of as great is probably the 30-year great, not the level to get a job great. There's lots of professional working artists that you would just not be that impressed with their work. You wouldn't keep coming back to it on Instagram every day, You don't come back to the median. You come back to the best of the best of the best, and that skews all of our perceptions. 30 years, but I want to get good in 30 minutes. Yeah, that's a lot of people. If you have that problem, buy my course. I'll disabuse you of that notion in the first video. Heaven help anyone who buys one of my courses thinking that it's going to make them great at art fast. First video, I'm like, good luck. It's going to take you 2 years to do all the homework. Don't quit. Hi, Steven. I'm having a hard time getting realistic highlights right in digital. Any advice? Thanks, you demand. The number one problem people have with highlights is that the diffuse reflection is too bright. The most important thing about highlights is that they are bright, that they are high. But most people paint the surrounding areas far too bright, and so the highlight can't pop off, and so it'll never look right. So usually, most people, this isn't everybody's problem, but for 90% of people struggling with highlights, you need to paint the base tone darker so that the highlight pops off very nicely when it comes off. If you have that and they still look wrong, it's usually just that there's not enough variety of edges on the highlight. You know, you need to find a softer side, a harder side, a medium side. You gotta find a softer side of the highlight, just like you gotta find a firmer part of my heart. It's from my new album, Songs About Drawing. Steven Zapata story. Now available in a 6 CD set, Steven Zapata's Songs About Drawing, the eternal Steven Zapata story. Listen to such hits as Make Your Highlights Look Better by Dropping the Value of the Diffuse Reflection, and Everybody Needs to Turn Off Let Transparency Shape Layer on Color Dodge right now. Get these hits and more when you buy the 19 CD set for only $49.99. Order within the next 10 minutes and you'll get 2 85 CD sets for the price of one. That's right, only $850 for both sets of CDs. Call now. We're selling out. We're sold out. We sold out while recording this commercial. Sorry, everybody. We're closing up shop, and oh, there goes our supply chain. Okay, we actually can't make any more. So, everybody who managed to order one, congratulations. You now have a rare collector's item. And I was fired mid-sentence, so I stopped doing my announcer voice. This is my normal voice. You have to pay me for the announcer voice. Goodbye, everybody. Hold on, it's getting close. A little cold in here. Discord email says, not gonna lie, Steven's course made me redo a painting after 30 minutes or so of watching. It was instantly better. I'm glad. Average sending me the announcer voice fees. Thank you, Average. I appreciate that. Now, because you paid me, you get the announcer voice. Thank you so much, Average. When World Tour? It's coming. How do you learn to sing? You can't learn to sing like me. As we've discussed on here many times, Genetics of a 9-year-old girl singing Ave Maria at a funeral. That's what I have. That's what I have. Singing is not like drawing. It's not like drawing. I know I'm going to offend some people out there, but everybody knows the truth. We've all seen a 9-year-old girl sing Ave Maria at a funeral. You're born with it. It's pure talent. You can learn how to control your singing so that belting it out all day, every day doesn't damage your vocal cords, but you're either a great singer or you aren't. And I am. I have those genetics. I am that. I'm a tiny Katy Perry strutting out on some pageant stage at 3 years old and sounding like a 55-year-old woman with a mature voice. That's what I am. That is what I am at my core. Roach, hello. 13 Ernst says, do you recommend the cylinder structure method or something else? I've heard the block and cylinder methods are wrong technically. So that gets into the question of construction and where does construction sit within the world of drawing. I have a pretty, no, this isn't really a hot take. I just think that a lot of people get confused about this. But a lot of people think that construction is how you're supposed to draw. No. And I've seen that trip up students many, many times. And I have helped many students who are struggling. When I say struggling, I mean panicking about drawing because they think they're supposed to be constructing, that they have to construct things in order to draw correctly. No, it's a diagnostic tool. It's for fixing things. It can also be training wheels that you put on for a while to wrap your head around things, but that is not, quote unquote, how you draw. The beginning place for drawing that all high-level artists return to and that you're never supposed to abandon is you start with graphic energy. It's just graphic. That's where you begin. It's pure shape and energy and emotion and how shapes and lines and colors and values evoke particular kinds of emotions. That is where everybody should start. That's where every drawing should start. And then you construct on top of that. There's people who don't agree with me about that, and they're philosophically bankrupt and haven't thought about this long enough, unfortunately. If you don't like constructing, you don't have to do it. There's lots of professional artists who've never constructed in their life. It's just another method, but graphic energy is everything. So for anybody who's just totally confused, like some people are under the impression that it's like, all right, if I need to draw a torso, it has to be, I'm supposed to throw a block form here, and then the shoulder is a sphere, yeah? So it's supposed to integrate with the block there, and then the cylinder needs to come effectively out of the sphere, like I'm drawing Tinker Toys or something like that. And okay, so this means I'm a good artist, right, Mom? Right? I'm finally good, right, Mom? Now you can't say I'm bad, right, Mom? No, that's not how you draw. When you do a torso, you just do graphic energy. You start here. I'm exaggerating it. You guys see me draw. This is not how I naturally draw. But you just do shapes. If you have 30-something years of drawing practice under your belt like me, then that graphic energy beginning is going to communicate, is going to look somewhat cohesive. When you're earlier on, yeah, it's going to look like a mess. That's okay. That's how drawings are supposed to look early on. And then you construct on top of this to make corrections and adjust proportions if you have to, if you like working that way. You don't have to do it that way. So if this arm was like really off, I could start taking some light lines and being like, all right, it would vaguely connect like that. So in perspective, it should be coming more towards me. So probably the deltoid is actually going to be more lateral side and the front side is more over here. So I'm going to see the multipennate feathered muscles of the lateral part of the deltoid more in front view than I do the bifurcated front part of the deltoid. It's like, then you can start getting technical like that if you like that kind of thing. If you like that kind of thing, if you like thinking that way. Rucker said, what is the difference between shape and construction? So there, I just explained it. Cody, $5. Thank you so much, Cody. Paid ad for you to get the course. That's amazing. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate it. Cody is paying for ads to get people to get the course. I mean, this is a special person. This is an elevated, special person. Thank you, Cody. I really appreciate it. By the way, Cody, I saw in the Discord the other day the painting of the Sphinx that you posted. I thought it was looking really cool. I know you asked for paint over, and I was looking at it for a while, and I wish I'd had more. I'm really pinched on time right now. So I wish I could have jumped in and given some comments, but just in general, I want you to know that I thought that was looking really slick. Invincible. Actually, I think I have Discord. So everybody knows what I'm talking about. I don't think Cody will mind if I share their work. There we go, this painting. Really nice stuff, Cody. Good sick. Let's see what everybody else is up to. Nice. I'm in streamer mode right now, so some names are cut off. Sorry if I can't call everybody out. Kari's got a painting from life. Very cool. What is that? Oils on paper? Nice. Michelangelo, the original, the actual Renaissance Old Master. Looking good right there. Tamian drawing plants from life. Now that's what I'm talking about. Put in the work, people. Get out there. Get out in the world. Get out in life. Sheesh. Tamian knows what's up. Poop Shoe Rogers. Poop Shoe Rogers. From Workshop Heaven. Look at that. Cool. Always like the way you draw, man. Looking good. Charlie says, is that a free Discord? No, this is the Patreon Discord. Art Dad. Ugh, kids. If you want to support, check out the Patreon. You support for 1 month, you get into the Patreon server permanently. You don't get kicked out. People share work in here. Look, it's good to have a paywall on it. That's my personal opinion. It keeps the trolls out. I don't know how else to put it. It's that simple. It's like you put a little bit of investment up front. It keeps the assholes out, keeps the environment good. And it has worked for years. I mean, it's a great little server. High quality audience. I'm thinking about making it so that, I'm thinking about launching the YouTube partnerships, not partnerships, the YouTube memberships as well. So that if anybody wants to join through YouTube, because I wanted to do that a long time ago, but they weren't integrated. You couldn't actually set that up, but YouTube and Discord recently integrated. So now I could do it so that if you sign up for a YouTube membership, you'll get access to the Discord. Cigar is very good. Cigar. Love the textures. Yeah, Soko. Nice. Nice expressions. I think this pose in particular looks familiar. I think I was looking at this same photo pack recently. I think I know the expressions you're drawing there. Donut, 10,000 years later. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Good to see your work again, man. Donut was in the workshop. Cool. Study of somebody else's work. Some gradient maps and stuff like that. Very nice. Art Dad finishes TTRPG manual. Cool. Spooky. The gaping maw of suffering. Gabriel, looking good, man. Love seeing your stuff. All flow. In it, interwoven. Potate, study for a personal project. A C. Makes me think Turner. Makes me think of Turner. Good work, everybody. Nice to see it. Damn, I gotta go to the bathroom again. I drank too much tea before this. I'll be right back. Zdex says, when course and how much? When course and how much? The course is weeks away. Literally weeks away. We've been working very hard on it. It's coming. I'll have more info for you soon. Rob says, hello, master of the dark art Zapata. Hello. 13 earned with $10. Thank you so much. Can you link the Patreon? I want to join and post some stuff. I do all sorts of styles, but my own style is kind of trippy. Would love to hear constructive criticisms. The Patreon... Did I... Oh, I think I took it... I think it's in the description. If I'm not mistaken, it should be. Yeah, it's there. If you look in the chat, if you look in the video description, it says support on Patreon for Discord access, and there's a Patreon link. Thank you for the $10. 13 earned, which I'm gonna assume is just burnt. Ooh, burnt style is kinda trippy. Oh, burnt giving the donation. Oh, thank you so much, Burnt. Cynthia White, how you doing? Cynthia says, wait, hold on. I need to place an offering at my Steven Zapata shrine to celebrate your return. Ah, yes. Make proper hecatombs to the worthy gods. Do you want to be a magical creature or a minor god? I just have to rearrange my shrines a little. I think I'm more of a minor god kind of a type. I really do. I really do. I think I'm more of a minor god kind of a type. Luke says, I love your art style, man. I hope you're doing good. I actually had a high school teacher that taught Proco. Oh, cool. And I know you interacted with him too. All love. That's awesome. Yeah, I've never gotten to meet Stan on in person, but we've done a bunch of stuff together online. I've been on the phone with him a few times. Let's see, what's my whole... All right, so we did a bunch of little doodles here. Maybe I'll come back to sketching the refs in a bit if I want to. But maybe I'll just free sketch for a minute here. Can't wait to buy that course. Oh, I'm glad you're excited. I am. It's going to be, we've worked very hard on it. It's so close. It's so close. They're, so close on the production side. Like I said, we're weeks away. It's so close on the production side. I've wrapped up all of the difficult stuff at this point, all the difficult things that needed to be made. Besides production, there's of course a bunch of back of house stuff that needs to be done. I need to build the website and all that, but we're very close. I think all of you who want to learn some design stuff, I think you'll love it. I mean, it's really good. The elements of art and principles of design section in the course, which is a big part of it, the main meat of it, it's the best videos that I've made. I mean, we went overboard with them. They're pretty intense. They're super cool, I think. And the assignment section, the assignment that I put people through to practice the things that they learned, I think the assignment's really fun. It's going to be awesome. What's this course on again? The new one? Yeah, it's a design fundamentals course. Gabuda says, what recommendation do you have to really dig in and focus with form from imagination? Transform the assignments. Make them, try to make them personal. I say it all the time throughout the course, and I know it's hard for people to accept that they should do it, but that really is the best thing you could do. Like, it's easy when you're doing something like a compound cube. You're overburdened. It's hard enough to learn how to draw in perspective. So you're like, all right, how am I going to put all of these things to the right vanishing points? I've never done this before. There's criteria. It's like, all right, I've got to have like a chimney. And then you're like, oh boy, I gotta render this. Oh no, how am I gonna render this? How am I gonna decide what's 1, 2, 3? Where am I gonna put the cast shadows? How am I gonna map that? And I get it. It is difficult. If you've never done it before, it is difficult. But this can really, it's easy to detach from this because it's so abstracted, right? This is not far from being turned into something personal. Like, just turn it into like a little house, a castle. You can put doors on it. There is explicitly an assignment where I force people to do something like this. This is just an example, There is the creative assignment where I beg you to actually do like a house, like a Monner's house or something like that. Like, just practice the kinds of stuff that you actually want to draw. Put turrets. Put it up on a hill. Punch things in and out of it. Put gates, windows. Put a horse-drawn carriage down here. Like, you probably know I'm into fantasy, I'm into sci-fi, whatever. Like, do whatever you can to twist your assignments towards that, right? Like, I don't care if you put a whole bunch of crazy crap all over it. I'm still going to be able to tell things aren't receding to the right vanishing points, you didn't map the cast shadows right, and you made a bad choice for your contrast arrangement. I can still tell that no matter what you overlay on top of it. You're still going to be able to get the same crit that you would have got on the simpler one, but don't shy away. Some people worry. It's like, oh, well, it's getting too complicated. It's like, yeah, maybe it's getting more complicated, but at least you give a shit. At least it's more the kind of thing that you're actually interested in working on. Still waiting for the weekly TV network Steven Zapata show? Me too. Me too, Kyo. But look, everybody knows that Drawing Ascendant, The Eternal Chronicles of Steven Zapata, Lasting Legacy 1, Epic 1, is too hot of a property to not wind up on TV very, very soon. We're gonna get there. Sick the Wolf says, I picked up your Form from Imagination course to help me level up my skills after an almost 2-decade hiatus from doing art. That's awesome. I want to get back into it and maybe even do a webcomic. Kids call them webtoons these days, I think. I think a webtoon, do they call them web? I think a webtoon is specifically when it's vertical for phone, right? I think regular webcomics still exist. Someone correct me. Is it not technically a webtoon if it's not phone first? Is that the idea? And Sick the Wolf, I'm glad Form from Imagination helped you out. I'm very, very happy to hear that. I'm very gratified in general how many people have taken the course and that have seen big improvement from it. And not just improvement in art, but some of the best stuff for me to see is the way that people have really connected with like the experiential changes that I was trying to push through with the course. You know, people are much more in tune with what they're doing, getting on the form, having strange psychedelic experiences while making art and things like that. That's good. I'm glad to see that. Feeling like the thing that they're drawing is real and like they're sculpting it with the tip of the pencil. It's working. I actually just, they just updated the community for Form from Imagination. The community is where the feedback happens if you get the feedback version. So anyone who has one of the feedback versions, go check out the community. Pardon our dust, since they migrated it, it broke a bunch of stuff. There's stuff I have to fix there, like I need to add icons and things like that because it lost a bunch of colors and all this. But the new community looks really good, and I haven't set it up yet, but now you can do video calls in there. So now Form from Imagination is going to have a always open video room. So you guys, if you're doing your homework for Form from Imagination and you don't want to feel alone, you can just jump in that video room all the time, and you can have other people join you in there, and you can see that people are in there, and then you can jump in and talk to them, and then you can get a little homework study group growing. I'll turn that on very soon. I just need to actually investigate the settings for that and how it works. Bobby Burninator, hello. Good to see you. Burnt with another $10. Okay, I'm in. Posted 3 to show my different styles and whatnots. Enjoy. Thank you for the dono, Burnt. I appreciate it. I really do. I think we will go check out the Discord again before the... Sorry, I'm getting messages. I think we will go check out the Discord again before we sign off. It's because I'm seeing a few people pledging right now in my notifications. Whoops. Uh-oh, not enough memory. Open this page. Hold on, my YouTube died. Oops, stream didn't die. Am I still live? Am I still live? I don't know why my YouTube crashed out. Let me pin this again. Okay, I'm still live. Oh, I just caught a glimpse of Burnt's work while I was trying to manage my YouTube stuff over here. Let's look at this. Nice. Is that an alien? You have to tell me if that's an alien. That better not be a gray alien. You know I'm afraid of gray aliens. I don't like that. I don't like that. The art's fine. I like the art fine. But the content, that better not be a gray alien. I don't like that, Burnt. Don't do that to me. I'm just kidding, obviously. I was like making contact. Good, crazy, good. Spooky. Keep going, man. Go crazier, Burnt. I think you're connecting a lot with color. Keep doing more color. The black and white's nice too, but I don't know. I see something like this with the mushrooms and things like that. I think it's screaming for a color treatment, like what you were doing here. You're having fun with it, man. I'm glad to see that. Keep it up, Burnt. And stop with the aliens. No aliens. Don't do the aliens. Do not do the aliens. Cody's got a new piece up. Oh, I saw the sketch for this. This was looking dope too. Pretty sick, man. Looking ill, Cody. Sort of an Egyptian thing going on. So are you doing like a series of like sphinx-based kind of a stuff? I like that. Like a series of like Egyptian inspired stuff. I think sphinxes are specifically Egyptian, right? Cool stuff. More from Burnt. Nice. Oh, I really like doing like the X-ray kind of a figure thing too. I think that's fun. Probably your handling here is less embarrassing than mine. Usually when I do it, people say that it looks like a headache medication commercial, you know, because I always make it like blue and there's red spots, so it looks like here's where the pain hurts. Good stuff, Burnt. I want to, all right, now I can't help it. If Cody's doing a series, let me, Cody's putting in the work. Let me take a look at, all right, give me a second. I need to black out my screen. To launch Photoshop. All right, let's take a look at Cody's piece for a little bit, because Cody's really going for it. Cody's going for the gusto. Cody, you feel free to put your socials in the chat if you want. Oops, let me... All right. So whenever I do a paint over, I always try to do a disclaimer. I'm just gonna jam on Cody's piece for a little bit as if it was my picture, because it's really hard. It's like there's really nothing you can do to a picture that couldn't be wrong given some particular context, right? You could say, I think it's better to use this color, this value, and on its face that seems like a good design decision, art decision, and then you find out that, oh, there was actually constraints on this picture or intentionality behind that decision that actually makes that inappropriate. Art's chaos, right? Art is total chaos. So there's nothing that's guaranteed to work. And often when I give people unsolicited advice, I find that they're often like, everything that I change, they're like, oh, actually, it was like that for a very intentional and controlled reason. And then it's like, all right, so my whole paint over was invalid. So disclaimer, I know that's there. I'm not pretending I'm making some objectively better picture here when I give someone notes. I'm just gonna jam on it and see if Cody finds anything in there that he's interested in. He may not ever do these corrections. Most people don't. When you do paint overs, they don't actually do the corrections that you give them. But it might change the way that he thinks the next time. And we'll just keep chatting while we work. To make this easy for myself, I'm going to take a little time up front and select out the Sphinx. Let's see. Actually, give me just the sphinx. Forget the flower. All right, that'll do. I think. And all stuff like this is slow going, so we can keep talking while we do this. So if anyone has any questions or anything like that, let me know. All right, so there's the sphinx cut out. All right, so my first reaction is that the background is bleaching out to white a little bit too much. That's the first thing that I want to change. I think that Cody was going for an overall value structure where like the sphinx was medium values and dark values, and it was being framed by this light background. And I get the idea of going for like the bleached out look to sort of make it feel like it's really strongly lit, but I think that it got a little bit too white in a lot of places. Like this feels like pure white. The steps back there, the grass here feels pure white, and that does a few things. One, it saps color out of the picture. It creates hot spots. So I'm personally getting really hot spots if I squint at the composition. I'm getting hot spots here, in this hole in the wings. These are really hot, these cuts into the wings, and this whole edge is really hot. And I think it's pulling focus. I think that it's not quite letting us sit here. To me, what is this picture about? To me, this picture is about this, actually. It's about her and the sphinx head. That's what the picture is about to me. So I would rather put focus there. So like I said, the bleached out look can work. It's not like movies don't make sunny days by doing bleached out lights and things like that. You know, Michael Bay does stuff like that all the time. But one of the reasons that that's not working here for me is that there's not a lot of shadows. You know, if a day is really going to be that bright, that bleached out, like hot sun hitting things, there should be really clear cast shadows on the ground, and there's nowhere that's really communicating that for me right now. So if we had like an area like this, an area like this, there was cast shadows from each step onto the step underneath it. If these trees were casting noticeable cast shadows onto the ground over here, they'd probably be getting a little blue from the sky. Same with the rocks. It's like, this is a huge rock wall, right? So really it feels like a lot of this would all be in shadow. So the fact that there's no clear cast shadows to make it feel like a really strong sunlight is holding it back there. We do have that up front, right? But it's kind of not being consistently carried into the background. So maybe we do the cast shadow thing, but I'm gonna start by just dropping the value on a lot of these areas. Can't quite tell if that's water or maybe Cody could tell me. Cody, did you intend for like an area like this? Is this water or like grassy ground? Because it's slightly green, I'm assuming grassy ground because you do have grass over here. Oops. Sorry, my chat had frozen. I wasn't seeing a lot of what was going on. Sorry, let me catch up here. It was supposed to be water, okay. All right, so let's try to do a water effect. So, for my money, water is usually dark, actually. I prefer to do water with a dark base, so. I'm gonna take it, this is like a pond. You said it's a waterfall on the left? The left is a waterfall. So I take it, so this, I thought these were like ruin steps. Is that a waterfall? Is this the waterfall? Tell me if one or two or neither of those is the waterfall. This is good. See, already in discussing this picture, we're finding first read issues that Cody's gonna want to massage to help this communicate more clearly. I interpreted that all on the left as ruins. Left is steps, you had it right, okay. Is this the waterfall? Someone in chat said waterfall, it's not. Okay. We got it. So, we as people, we tend to overreact to highlights. Specular reflections are very important for our eyes, and we overreact to them. For my money, most water has a dark base. The only water that really has a light base is artificial pools because they have a white bottom that bounces a lot of light back up through them. So like your swimming pool in your backyard, for example. Or the very rare places in the world, like Bermuda or something like that, where there's white sand beaches. There's a reason it's specifically white sand beaches create that crystal clear vacation resort water. It's because the white sand bounces a lot of light back up into the water and thereby raises the general value. Most water that isn't those two situations is a dark base. You know, think when you're at the ocean, a more regular beach or something like that, you know, you put your hand a foot underwater, you can't really see it anymore. The ocean is full of particulates and stuff like that, and we get distracted by the scintillating highlights on the water surface. Shady on Fire says, bro, what the fuck? This is a really cool illustration, Steven. Your compliment goes to Cody. Cody did a very cool illustration. I'm just giving some notes. I'm gonna do some work on the pool. Dark first. So I'm looking for a shoreline. And I'm actually using very dark darks where the water hits the rocks. We can sneak a little low value blue and green in to activate. Make it feel like it's catching a sky dome up above. We creep up on it. Look at that, I'm not even in the middle of the value range. Gentle, baby. Let's take some of the colors of the rocks and circulate them in a couple little touches. That's giving me a darker base. That's going to give me much better of a shot of making our main characters pop off. I do this stuff very unconsciously, so it's always hard for me to catch myself. I darkened the tree. Generally, when I'm fixing stuff, I find for me personally, I'm often darkening because bringing things back into the middle value gives me more value range to restructure things, add highlights back in, things like that. You'll also notice that after I darkened, I needed to introduce a darker value. And what did I do? I went down to the water and I picked the blue from the water. And then I use that to put a couple pops into the trees, recirculating those colors. One of the parts of color harmony is a principle called color circulation, where unless it's very intentional, you don't want isolated colors all over the picture. It's gonna make things feel separate. One of the classic ways that that gets fixed is you make sure that you use a little bit of everything that you used all over the picture, right? And that can get very gaudy, but the trick is balancing it. That just feels like a more colorful, scintillating base for my palm tree up there. Can always do a dark accent to make everything feel lighter and more beautiful. And then, as I said, if I really want this to feel like some heavy sunlight is going on up top, I can hunt for some implications of cast shadows. So I do generally read. So these palm tree shadows onto the wings, I feel like they're coming from this palm tree in the foreground, which is good, which makes me think that the light is coming from behind to the left, which puts everything in like a left front lighting. But I do feel like I can cast shadows that same direction. This particular thing is less about using the right colors and more about structuring the shapes correctly and doing the modeling factors correctly. Fading out those lightest highlights. I want to take a lot of the saturation out of some of these rocks. I want to save that. We kind of have the same, whoops. We kind of have the same warm reddish pinkish tone going on our focal point as we do back here. So I want to seek a little variety there. Goodbye, Barbie Burninator. I will stream again soon, don't worry about that. Steven, do you believe there is such a thing as a person who can't draw, or is it just a lack of understanding of form and technique? I mean, there's people who can't do everything that is available. Wow, did that make any sense? There's definitely people who just, the way their mind is wired, they're just not gonna have a good go of it at drawing. But I think anyone whose brain is wired that heavily that way is also not going to be that interested in drawing, so it's not a big deal. I think anybody who is really interested in drawing probably has the capacity to do it if they work very hard. All right, so establishing a bit of a different value range back there. Now we can go in and put some of the lights that are all anyone's going to remember about the water. We can we can generally do that. The edge. Careful now. Really want these cools to help balance out the really intense warmth going on with our character. Art Apprentice says, hey Steven, I just finished a drawing during stream. I referenced a film scene, but I changed the pose, character, ethnicity, and background. Is that enough to post without legal issues? Yeah, I think so, for sure. Add some darks next to the highlights, because little rivulets on water, you know, they have a highlight side and a shadow side. I'm still not convinced I have an art brain. I wish I was exposed to more art younger. I mean, as long as you love it, you have an art brain. There are people pursuing art who don't love it, so that's not a given. There's a lot of people who sort of are hard-nosed pursuing art because they want to be famous. You know, they want to have a video game or be a famous comic book artist or something like that. Like they see art as a means to an end, and so they are trying to learn how to draw to do one of those things that they see as being the way to get to that final goal. And there's nothing wrong with that being something you'd like to extend your art into, but when that means that you're pursuing something like drawing, which is extremely difficult and based on joy, when you're pursuing it while hating it, it's like you should have just been an investment banker. Like, go make a ton of money so that you can be independently wealthy. And you weren't meant to make the art. You were meant to hire people with your incredible resources to make your project a reality for you. You're not supposed to be the person drawing it. You know, you don't like it. Why are you doing that? Fund the project. I feel like, oh, well, I can't go be an investment banker. If you were a union plumber, you would make 10 times the money that most artists are ever going to make. Like, I'm not saying you need to remake your life to go have a credential, need to come from a good neighborhood job like investment banker. I mean, a union plumber will have more resources to make the dream come true than most artists will. Couple taps of color dodge. Varying blue into green. So now that feels like a base for little oasis water for me, a little bit more. Is a little bit more value variety. So it's working nice on the right. I don't like that it's very similar colors to what's going on in the wings, right? Oops. So I'm not going to hit it that hard in this gap because it's going to use all the same colors and it's going to possibly create a confusing read. So I'm going to just darken back here instead, I think. Again, water does get quite dark, so you can imply some shadows of trees again. Cody says, sorry, I'm not talking, I'm just paying attention. No problem for me. So there I kept it very dark, you can see. Against this area, at least that's purple. They're similarly dark, but there's a color differentiation. And I have a subtle implication of like a palm tree casting a shadow to these light water shapes. All right, let's poke at our focal point now. So first thing that comes to mind is that the sphinx looks a little smooth. Not the sphinx, the ruined head looks a little bit smooth. I think given how focal this is, you would want to juice this a little bit more so that it looks like a really detailed, really strong focal. Especially, I think you're trying to use this to get like illustration work, right, Cody? So, your sphinx is a smooth, pretty girl. So let's, by contrast, make her feel smoother and prettier by beating up this ruined head a little more. And that's fun. That just means paint and have fun. Don't be afraid to use very dark darks. In your focal areas. They make things feel lighter. Ironically, very dark darks make things feel lighter and more colorful in general, as long as they're placed in the appropriate places of ambient occlusion. I'm gonna pretty significantly restructure your shadow here because you do have, again, that light coming from the left and from behind, and you've got trees casting shadows onto it. I think I can justify cast shadow coming off of this feature here. And yes, I know how to shape it because of form from imagination. And I'll get a shadow on the far side of its forehead as well. Putting it in darker than it needs to be because digital. So I can always juice a little color into it after the fact. Again, we're very bright here. I want to keep the red tone that you had because it seems very intentional. I'm going to lower it overall. Hold on, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get a snack. I'll be right back. Cody says, I did have a question. I know my work looks like it looks how it looks now style-wise, but I'm still not quite where I'd like to be. I want to aim for maybe 10 to 15% more realism in there. What could I do to push more realism? You don't have to paint it in, just a question in general. There's two general roads to realism, and you need to decide which it is for you. Is it realism in drawing, That is to say, trying to draw proportions and shapes the way that they appear on a real person or a real thing in nature? Or is it realism in lighting? You know, that it tends to be one of those two. Different people land on a different side of the spectrum there. Often a lot of people have not made the distinction yet in their head, but it's usually one of those two. So you can imagine something like Monsters Inc., right, is pure realism in lighting, right? But that does a lot for realism for a lot of people, right? It's the shapes or whatever, the forms or whatever, they're totally stylized and crazy, but the lighting is ray traced, it's accurate, you know, it feels very formy. So usually that's where people should start if they want to push realism. Decide for yourself, is it realism of shape? Is it realism of just how things actually are in reality? I guess that'd be like shape and material, really. Or is it realism of light, realism of lighting? Me personally, I'm a realism of lighting guy. I don't really care for things to look exactly the way they look in real life. The things I'm most interested in drawing, it's like they couldn't be real, so. When you've got when you're trying to make something feel ruined, you really want to beat up things like these clean edges. Those are like some of the first things you want to go. Be really aggressive about it. Steven, I've noticed in hyperrealistic detail, a lot of artists abandon color theory and switch to real values. Do you have any thoughts on this? I notice you stick pretty well to dark forward. It's a classic art history thing that if you want something to feel more colorful, you need to sacrifice value range generally. And if you want something to feel more formy, you need to sacrifice range of colors. It's a classic trade-off. You know, colors really only obtain to their full hue identity at a particular value, which is generally referred to as the chroma points of a color. And so if you want something to really exist at its chroma point, then you need to stop modulating the value so much. That's why the Impressionists were light on form and high on color. Cody says, I think a bit of both, honestly. The proportions, etc., I could always bend if I wanted to, but I'd like a solid base in each that I can bend. Yeah. You just got to explore, you know? I generally I generally worry when people start to focus a bit too much on trying to get things looking more real. I kind of think it's a vain effort. Like, I'm not really sure how it's like, yeah, things can get more real, but it's like there's no making anything perfectly real in art. So I don't know how much attention should really be put on the whole endeavor. I mean, go for it, but I've always been a little suspicious about it. This looks so different from your usual stuff. Is this commercial? No, it's not my stuff. I'm giving notes to Cody. I saw Cody working his ass off in the Discord, and he specifically asked for some feedback on this one a few days ago. And I had a minute here on stream, so why not? And hopefully any minute here I'll start actually making it better instead of just changing it. You're gonna do damage. Do big damage. Hi, Stephen. Doing work for others. What types of projects excites you most? Not. I have to say that and it kind of makes me different from a lot of my friends, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but you know, I was lucky enough to get a lot of good opportunities and do work for companies and things like that, and I was more shocked than anybody else to find that I don't really like helping multinational corporations make tons of money. It doesn't actually it doesn't actually bring me a lot of satisfaction. A lot of my friends are rolling their eyes at that. I'm just trying to be honest. Sorry. I wanted it. I wanted it more than anybody. I wanted to work on video games and work on big projects and just love it and feel perfectly satisfied. I wanted that. Of course I wanted that. It didn't work out. I felt nothing. The only things that really make me happy are just drawing, just doing art for myself, just drawing stuff for myself, not even necessarily towards a finish. I just really love the act of drawing. And as maybe saccharine and cliche as it might sound to some cynical people, helping people, helping other people, teaching and things like that. when I think on like the best art experiences I've had over the years, it's personal eurekas that led to changes in how I draw. That's probably half of it. And the other half of good moments that I remember is a student going, "Oh my God. Oh my fucking God." And just having their mind blown. Just the transfer of insight, right? And that's it. I have no warm memories for projects launching and things like that. I wish I could say I did, but I really don't. I have lots of warm memories about my coworkers and the teams and the people that I knew. I don't really get pumped about projects. I don't. I wish I did. If I could take a pill that would change that about me, I would take it in a second, but I don't have it. I don't have it. I think a lot of these ridges could get beaten up. A nice leaf in the foreground. Damn nice leaf you got there. Gonna cut these back in dark over the water, because now we have the, well, just because I painted over. Broke the structure there. All right, so I hope you see that the changes that I've made, whoop. So there's a lot of nice complicated things going on here, but to make the point of my critique here, I need to just do a very ugly, I need to wipe away a lot of these pretty things that you have here, unfortunately. Note that with this particular adjustment, I'm not saying delete these nice details that you did. I'm just trying to lower the value very quickly to make a point. If I go black and white, I hope you can see when I turn off and on there that a lot of the value adjustments that I made give me room. First off, they help the background sit back, right? It lowers the contrast in that background. It lowers the value on key areas like the ruins head at the bottom, which lets me get more details into them, which is important for something like a ruined head, you know, get cragglies, get texture, things like that. And it leaves a more focused light shape just on the actual main focus of the picture, which is the female portion of the Sphinx, right? Whereas before, we had really hot, super light shapes directly to the left and directly to the right of her that are making very finicky. I zoom out a bit more. Look at those wing areas. Like all the little serrated edges in the wings are making these really high contrast little knives that are really pulling attention to these less exciting areas, again, to that low contrast, to that high contrast background where things are getting bleached out. There, that kind of steps back a little bit on those high contrast areas. The wings still pop off and all of that, but it lets us focus more on her. At least that was my intention. And yeah, then once we go not black and white, I did you remember I did quite a bit of changes on color and trying to make that read more like water, which gives us cools next to a lot of the warm because, so, so my first reaction when I saw this picture was that I thought it looked very red, very warm. That red that's in her skin tone, her clothes, the head of the ruin in the front. I don't even know if red is the right name, but just that tone there, this tone here, it's repeated back here in the rocks. I thought it looked very red. And I have recently started pulling back on giving that kind of a note when I look at a color picture, because it's quite a common one. Like, I think things canted a little too green, a little too purple, a little too red, because I found that a lot of the time when I've said that, people say, yeah, well, that's because this is supposed to be a Magic the Gathering red card. And it's like, okay, I don't play Magic. I know the cards are colored, but I can't tell you how many times I've given a big general note like that, and it turns out the whole thing was supposed to be all green to be a Magic card. So I've stopped giving that note. Seems a lot of people are doing a lot of sample Magic cards lately. So if that's intentional, then so be it. And that's why I tried to keep the red in there. But I do think that getting the blue of the water helps balance out, give some separation. You know, there's a cool area and then that red area is framed by cool things, which the wings were kind of doing too, but I think we need more of it. Again, for me, the feeling of sunlight, not everybody's going to agree with me, but for me, the feeling of sunlight is more about shadow structure than it is about bright and dark. I genuinely believe it's less about value range and more about triggering what the eye is used to on a sunny day in terms of modeling factors. But there's got to be cast shadows. Cast shadows are generally going to need to be darker than form shadows. Froggy says, Mr. Steven, you're back. I'm back! He's back. What is that? He's back. Oh, that's from those AI animal transformation videos we were getting angry at on stream many months ago. Right next to pregnant demons in relationships with alabaster white women who are also pregnant. Yeah, never resolved that one for myself. Never quite could come up with what the heck that is. A little gentler back there in the background. All right, so last thing I want to do is give some notes on the actual focal point, which is her. The main one that sticks out to me is you got a classic issue right here on this big shape. So that's a very important shape. It's a damn near clean triangle. It reads when you pull out on the picture, but you got a very common effect that happens in paintings where there's more information in the shadow. It goes either way. This effect can happen from light to shadow or from shadow to light. In yours, it's happening shadow to light. There's more information in the shadow. There's wrinkles, there's ambient occlusion where wrinkles get caught up under the crown. There's a little bit of modeling showing the parts of the fabric that come towards us. And then when it hits the light, everything disappears. And it bleaches out into an undifferentiated little field of color. And that always looks very awkward to the eye. The eye is used to seeing information, not of the same contrast range, but of the same complexity of information, transfer correctly from light to shadow when a shadow is going over the same surface. So that's quite distracting on a very primary shape. So I would advise just carrying through some of those details. I'm not sure at all what kind of fabric this is, because I know it's making like a weird Egyptian shape, so I don't know if it's actually solid or soft, so I really don't know what kinds of wrinkles would be formed on this. Hopefully you have a reference for something like this. So even a treatment that simple, I think is going to help from that shape sort of standing out very awkwardly. I always wind up wanting to drop the value on everything as I correct things. Nice face. I did do a little bit of restructuring of shadows on those arms, right? Again, I'm trying to make the light feel like it's coming from front left behind us over to the left. So I put like the back of her hand into a little bit more shadow. See that there? That's where it was. I'm gonna fight for cools. Go towards purple, desaturate. Brighter, purpler. That'll work. Just looking for more color variety. You're getting a bit of a haloing effect in areas like this. Oops, let me turn off my pixel grid. This happens all the time when we paint. When we start going on autopilot, we just start darkening off of every edge. Got darker there. Off of this edge, there's a little bit of darkening. Off of this edge, there's a little bit of darkening. Off of this edge, there's a little bit of darkening, a little bit of darkening, a little bit of darkening. This is sometimes called pillow shading. It's just an autopilot thing that we do. Almost no lighting situation actually produces that. Sometimes when people learn about ambient occlusion for the first time, they think that a part of ambient occlusion is that wherever there's an edge, there's going to be a darkening up to that edge, and that's not true. That's not actually how light works. Ambient occlusion occurs in appropriate places, and it doesn't occur absolutely everywhere on every edge. So generally, in most lighting situations, that's gonna happen on a couple edges, but you're also gonna want to pick a few edges where just clean value meets clean value as well. I'm going to do a clean cast shadow off of that instead. There can be a line of AO there, but I won't do any soft shading out of that shape. Looking a little more definitive right away, right? It's a subtle thing, but don't you think that important shape on the left reads better and quicker and holds a more fleshy feel, a little bit more open like that? The wings I think are really nice. I saw you got some notes in Discord about thoughts on the wings. It's like they are good as they are. I do think they're good as they are. I do wonder, do they need a little variety? Like, should you go full peacock? Like, is there any reason why you're locked into that teal all throughout? I mean, I always think about real birds and stuff like that, and it's like, everything in nature is so crazy. Like, Even birds in your backyard have like 16 different colors in their wings, you know? Kessa says, what about crows? What about crows? What about them, Kessa? What about crows? I guess I'll just close down the shop. I guess we're just done painting forever. Yeah, no, crows, they don't have feathers of every color. I guess I'll just turn off these monitors, turn off Photoshop, close the stream. Let's just get rid of all this stuff. I'm resentful because you outsmarted me. That's why. I resent you because you outsmarted me. It's that simple. Your mic is very crispy. Yeah, I have the AC running today, so I have a bunch of filters on to just clean up the audio. So it's probably getting all out of whack. Whatever. There's no stopping it. I've given up, people. I've seen enough professional productions. Oh my God, it's like you watch a broadcast from the White House and the audio isn't right. there's no getting perfect audio. I've given up. Like anybody cares. Oh my God. With the takeover of brain rot, we've really proven that nobody cares about the quality of it. So, you know, there's a lot of things you could do here. Is she a peacock? You see, exactly, right? Like, I'm just saying it's an option, right? Like, is there no love for just finding more variety in those different sections of the wings, right? Playing with the blend mode here. Anyway, that's an overlay. It's like, maybe she is a peacock, you know, maybe she's a fowl or something like that. Some of the best, I don't know, I always thought it was kind of sad that people stop paying attention to things like that. Like some of the best historical depictions of Satan, for example. It's art YouTube, chill. This famous one by Cabanel. Like, look at that. Look at the wings on that Satan. Look at the wings on that Satan and nothing else. I know what you're looking at. You, not here. Not here. No. No, you don't look at that. You look at the wings. Look at the wings. Stop it. Stop. What are you doing? Stop it. Oh, you can't see my hand. Stop looking at that. Stop it. Focus on the drawing. Reprobate degenerates. My God. My God. And that's coming from someone who basically has a compulsion to draw muscular, naked men. There's another one too. Let me look at another. There's another infamous shaitan with cool foul wings. I wish I could remember the name. It's him with more wings, like not colorful, but like a lot of variety, almost like owl wings. It might be more contemporary, actually. Someone might know the one I'm talking about. I honestly can't remember if it's old or new. It's like Satan sitting on a stump. His wings are kind of close around him. I think he's like playing a flute or something like that. It might not be Satan. It might just be like an angel or a devil or something like that. Oh, someone might know what I'm talking about. Ron and Cam says, hope you're doing well, Steven. This is looking nice. I can't steal credit from Cody. I'm giving notes to Cody right now. I gotta put the art by Cody there. All right, Cody. I think I'm done for now. I hope you got something out of that. Did you have any other questions about it or anything that I said? I'll put this in the Discord, Cody. Thanks for letting me jam on it. I hope there was something in there to knock loose in your head. I really need a drink of water, but my God, I want to stop going to the bathroom. I think that version that I just posted, Cody, has all of the layers on. I don't think I deleted anything. There sure were. Is there a secret Discord I don't know about? It is not secret. If you support on Patreon, you get into the Discord. Good community, good folks in there, good artists. It is not free because when Discords are free, they go to crap. You get the trolls. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I got ops. I made enough problems for AI people that if my Discord was free, there'd be plenty of people trying to grief. I'm also thinking of making it accessible through a YouTube membership. I don't know if anybody would be interested. I don't know, like, are there some people who are like, oh, I'd much rather do a YouTube membership than make a Patreon account or something like that? Because, yeah, I'm thinking about activating the YouTube memberships. So then that would get you into the Discord, and you'd also get like badges and stuff, badges and emojis in the stream chats. I'm apparently never going to stop streaming. I take breaks, but I don't know how this happened, but I've been streaming art since like 2012 or something like that. Steven, are you dieting? No, I'm just under harsh lighting. I see some work from Kyo. There's the Discord. Kyo from Workshop Heaven says, worked on this during the stream, back on my usual mystical shenanigans. I love when people work during the stream. I do. I love knowing that we're all drawing together, that we're all on the same wavelength. I love knowing that seeing somebody else draw is like, I gotta draw too. You know, and you think it's some prosaic thing, but no, it's like the same thing that made the shamans paint the animals on the walls reaches out to you through me, and then you reiterate the ritual, making sure that it never dies, no matter what happens, no matter what technology comes up, no matter what lies culture tells us. There will always be shamans in the cave. Oh, my side. I for real got a split. This is not a joke. I actually got a cramp in my side doing that maniacal laugh. That sucks. Oh, and it's so cheesy to have it interrupt the laugh like that. Oh, it's so cheesy. This sucks. Help me. Okay. Kyo says, I always iterate the ritual. Yes. Yes. Kyo has a YouTube too, you know. If anyone's looking for more art YouTubes, Kyo does paintings like the one that I showed on their YouTube. Has good voiceover, good commentary. I think definitely if you like the commentary that happens around these parts, you'd probably be interested in what Kyo has to say. If you're interested, go check it out. No problem, Kyo. Did you end up getting a good drafting table after you moved? No. And I am unfortunately pre-move once again. Damn shame. I really love this studio. We'll see what happens. Hopefully I can have a good space in the next place. But due to a very unfortunate series of events, my landlord has decided to sell this building. And it is unlikely that the buyer, whenever they come along, is going to keep us on. So I'm out to field again. It's not on a strict timeline right now because they haven't sold yet, but you use any AI tools in your artwork not generative? Only like the algorithmic stuff that Photoshop has had for years. I have actually bullheadedly been refusing to update my Photoshop. I'm in the last version before they added any generative AI stuff. And it is breaking. It is not working great. Yeah, just the algorithmic stuff that Photoshop has always had, like, or not always, but has had for many years, like content aware fill. I don't do that. I don't use content aware fill for anything in my art, but when I'm just like editing things, you know, editing photos, stretching things for like thumbnails and things like that, content aware fill is useful there. Besides that, I don't know. I don't really know what else is would be qualified as like AI in Photoshop's suite of tools. I should be doing this in the file that I was doing earlier. Why'd I do a new file? I think I can make another Leonardo. Yes, I can. I love that about Leonardo too. You can make 2 separate instances. Love that. Let me just copy this over. I'm not making unnecessary files. Noah Birkland says, I have my last semester of my painting undergrad after this summer. I'm going to try and finish a life-size écorché as my senior capstone. Nice. Stephen, you have been a driving force throughout the years. That's crazy to hear, but happy to help however I have. Are you back to streaming for a while, or is this some obligation for your Patreon? I don't have any obligations for my Patreon. I really don't. There's no, I don't have any obligations for my Patreon. Some people do Patreons saying, you know, monthly tutorials or stuff like that, but I never did that. My Patreon is essentially a tip jar at this point. It gets you into the Discord if you want a community. And there's a bunch of built-up stuff on there. Old voice recordings, old Q&As, scans of my pencil drawings, things like that. I think all of that backed up stuff is already more than enough to justify the $5 membership for 1 month or something like that. So yeah, I don't really have any obligations. I'm here because I'm starting to crawl out of the hole on the new course. I've got most of the hard stuff done. I need to do the admin stuff, do some of the easier stuff. We're in editing hell right now, reviewing a lot of footage, pounding out a lot of videos now that all the production stuff is done, so. And I just miss it. I always miss streaming. It's like some of the most fun I have drawing. You know, drawing is so solitary, and I'm not really like an all solitary all the time kind of a guy, you know? I like to talk to people, interact. Is this a Photoshop alternative? This is Leonardo, which I don't think is being developed anymore, but I really love it. Because I like the, it has infinite canvas and the brushes feel good. But it's very simple. It's not going to be for everybody, but I like it. Because I like doing just tons of sloppy, loose little sketches. It's my happy place, so. Look at that, I could do all these sketches, they're all pretty big, and I just keep going to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, and I can just keep adding. I don't have to worry about layers or any of that crap. I use Mischief as infinite canvas. That's another one that kind of died, right? I don't even think you can get Mischief anymore. Don't ever uninstall it. Gorobard says, Dear Stephen, of absolute wisdom, should I ignore university altogether and just draw? JK, I will do my responsibilities. Your responsibility is to be creative. If school's not making you creative, cut it out. I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Please, please do not base your life decisions on what a guy on YouTube streaming says. Holy crap. Me or anybody else. Do you consider yourself naturally talented in drawing, Stephen? No. My greatest gift was that I always enjoyed it. But no. I would say my natural talent is about as close to zero as you could get. That's not true. No, maybe not as close to zero, but you guys only know me now, but it's like me early on, you would never, the artists who you would think of as like, oh, it's clear they're talented from the start, you would never, ever even jokingly imagine to put me in the same category as them when I was early on. I have very little natural talent. I had to fight for absolutely every shred of understanding that I have. I think that's what makes me a good teacher. But yeah, what I had, which definitely compensates for lack of talent, was that it was always fun. And I always knew it was supposed to be fun ever since I was little. And I started early, which I definitely needed because I have a bad combo. I'm a slow learner and I had almost no talent. So for it to work out for me, I really needed to start early. Gabuda says, personally, I think talent is a non sequitur. I don't really believe it exists outside of being a term to scare fledglings away. I can't say I agree, but, you know, to each his own. If I'm, you know, I wish I could say talent doesn't exist, right? It feels very fuzzy, especially in a group of people where everyone's trying to work hard, right? But it's just not, for me, it's just not true. I'm saying that from, I've had the blessing of being able to be friends with a lot of artists, be engaged in art for a long time, and I've gotten to train people. I've gotten to teach. Some people are just, I mean, is anyone surprised? There are some people who they're just like amazing. They already have, you know, your dream job or whatever. And they're like, what's up? How'd I get here? What? Yeah, it's unbothered. They're totally fine. I'm not saying there's a lot of them. I'm not saying it's common. I'm not saying that it should factor into your calculations at all. That's the problem. Like, a lot of people think you need to factor these people into your calculations. You do not. You don't need to factor them in. But to say they don't exist, that's just not true. That is just not true. Gabuda said, art is an acquired skill with principles that can be taught. It comes down to the individual person and the desire they have to get really good and find themselves in the process. Yes, and there's some people whose brains, for whatever reason, rip art a new asshole. And you don't need to change. Everything that you said is true. Plus, there are freaks out there. There are freaks out. You can see comics that Kim Jong-gi did when he was in high school, when he was like 15, and he would have been pro with them. And he wouldn't have just been pro, he would have been, people would have said, this is one of the best people who's ever done it. There is no explanation for that other than, yeah, occasionally the world and all of its warlings and all of its tempests and needs, it decides to summon a freak from the earth itself. And you don't need to factor that into your calculations about your life. Because that exists does not mean that you shouldn't be an artist, and it doesn't invalidate the fact that you will need to struggle for it for some long amount of time. I told you, I consider myself almost no talent. I've dumped 30 years of effort into this pursuit. You know, if you take I started drawing when I was 5, right? A high talent person with 30 years of effort would be way better than me. And I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter. It's not about one person to the other. It isn't. You don't need to factor the freaks into your calculations. It's like you said, you do your own thing. But the freaks exist. The freaks do exist. And I don't know, for anyone who's going to find that perfectly discouraging, I'm glad to just say it now so that you have to face it, because you can delude yourself as much as you want, but then you're gonna get a job where you sit next to someone who is the lead artist on the team, and they honestly never had to try that hard. Maybe they had to try hard to be consistent. Maybe they had to try hard to be a good employee. Maybe they had to try hard to not be an asshole. Maybe they had to try hard to be a good manager if they became an art director. But the art thing, they were kind of always the fucking bomb, and they never really had to worry about it. That's just the case. Case in point, Ahmed Al-Duri. How you doing, bud? Ahmed says, I've given up drawing and painting for monkhood. It's been years. Amen, brother. I think in another life, you and I would have made good monks. We could have joined the same monastery together. We could have spent our life in robes, in prayer, speaking a word or two to each other once every 20 years. That part is almost already true. What part? The saying one word to each other every 20 years? I think we've got at least a twice a year thing going. Yeah, spend 19 years preparing the 4 spoken words, yep. Wouldn't it be cool to draw along with Steven at the same time? I mean, you could. The reference is right there. If you just make the stream full screen, you're probably seeing it at the same size that I'm seeing it. You know, I'm just on a regular 27-inch monitor, which is pretty standard. Aaron says, Steven, do you find yourself still learning new skills nowadays, or has your art developed to the point where much of the learning is passive, unconscious, or is it all just exploration now? I think I could do with more. I personally think I could do with more, and I'm hungry for more time set aside in my life for new skills. You know, I've been wanting to just learn new stuff. Like I'd like to take like a really involved 3D class sometime in the near future. I'd like to do more oil painting and things like that. You know, I've got my setup back there, but I haven't done it in a while. I would like to make more focused time for that in my schedule. It's just, life gets busy, and we've all got limited time, right? I do still have eurekas and improve things. I do still occasionally bump into a concept or see something in like a picture or another piece of art where I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's how you should do it, and I'll absorb those things. Um, but specifically within the drawing side, it's just like anything else. I think I'm definitely at the point where I've hit the soft cap. I haven't hit the hard cap at all. The hard cap's far away. There's probably no hard cap in art, but I think I've definitely hit the soft cap. So I'm getting less increase in my skill points for every level that I add, and each subsequent level is requiring more and more runes to get to that next level. I've definitely hit the soft cap. Wait, does Steven's voice sound different or is it just me? I'm running the AC today, so I have a lot of filters. Do I sound too bad? In the beginning of the stream, everybody said I sounded fine. So I don't know if maybe something changed. I just have some noise filters on, so I'm going to sound a little robotic. Do I sound okay? I heard it too. Here's me with nothing on. Just so that everybody knows that I'm still me. I'm still normal. It's hot as hell in here. Very humid today, so. I'm gonna need another snack pretty soon. Or really, I gotta go eat lunch. Blasted through lunchtime. Just had that Cliff Bar. Mr. Steven, are you still stuck in the blue dimension? Not for long. What do you want? There, now I'm in the purple dimension. How does one access the blue? Now you can't even get it. Now you can't find me in there. Now you're done. Now you guys are stuck in the blue dimension. I'm in the pink dimension. I've moved on. I've ascended to the other plane. I'm gonna use my power to ascend. You finally finished the DLC of Elden Ring? No. I got way too busy. I put it off for when life's peaceful again. Gabuda said, the biggest reason I want to be a full-time artist is precisely because the ceiling is limitless. No limit to creation on DSGO. Yes. I love that there's no hard cap on art. Get this out of here. The artist almost has to impose constraints based on genre niche in order to free themselves. It's an amazing paradox to restrain in order to free yourself. So true. So true. Whoops. Am I still here? YouTube just told me stream disconnected. Okay, it looks like I'm back. I'm still here, right? Let me refresh chat. Does this app have the smudge tool? I don't think so. Oh, yes, it does. Yeah, it has a smudge tool. Ernesto says, what's your top reasons to keep pushing with art, Stephen? Do you think separating ourselves from the professional world and doing it only for the love of it is the answer for the long term? What's your top reasons to keep pushing with art, Stephen? For me personally, my reasons are gonna be way different from most people's reasons, bro. For me, art is the one true God. I do art to be in communion with the one true God. Sorry. I know I upset people. I know that makes me a heretic. I know that reveals me to be a religious zealot. I think nobody knows what art is. I think nobody knows why we do it. I think that it's something grander and more mysterious and scarier than what everybody thinks it is. I wish I could be a normal, chill dude and not say horrifying and cringy things like that, but that's the truth. If you ask me why I keep doing it, it's church. It's literally the most important thing. How could I stop? I may have to. Career things could change. My life could change completely. I might need to go do something else to make a living, but I could never stop drawing. That's the cosmos. That's the most intimate, in some sense, only real thing. And you live in a universe of illusion. And in that universe, only illusions can be authentic. And that way, drawing is the only real thing. Connects us deep down with the absolute, with the true nature of everything as experienced, raw representation, as presented to the mysterious will whose name cannot be uttered. My friends, it's the difference between drawing anime girls and drawing anime girls for spiritual reasons. You draw the anime girls for spiritual reasons. Froggy says the AI ops could never fathom. No, they could not. No, they could not. They're too busy thinking that they're going to pull a soul out of the machine. They're distracted. They've been hoodwinked, lost focused. They're missing the point. The truth was nearer at hand than they thought. Stratovocato says, I'm glad we're all sharing this moment in the Stephen Zapata Church of Art right here, right now, right here, right now. Spiritual feet stream on Patreon. You guys will know I've truly sold out when I have an OnlyFans for feet vids. That'll be it. Oh, you liking the art? Wait till you see what I got on OnlyFans. I don't know why it needs to be in some sort of odd accent. And what Italian or something like that? Oh, if you like what you see with the art. Wait till you see what I got on OnlyFans. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but feet pics in bio, you know what I'm saying? The twist is just you drawing feet all day. Man, that'd someone would show up at my house and kill me. That'd be the end of me. There is some deranged person out there who would really not like that. They would really not like that. All right, it's dang near 2 o'clock. We've been streaming for almost 4 hours. I do have a bunch of scripts still in the hole for El Curso, so I should go work on them, but it has been so fun to come back to streaming. We drew some stuff today. We did some doodles. We spent a big part of the middle of stream giving some notes to Cody on his sphinx. That was fun. Here were the notes we did to Cody. This is from the Discord here. So that's with some of the edits that I did for Cody. Proposing ideas, trying to calm down some lighting stuff. We did that for a bunch of stream. Here's a bunch of people's nice art. I want to show Cody's original for anyone who doesn't have context. That was Cody's original. Wait, was it? No. That was Xander's adjustment. There's Cody's original. I want to show Cody's original work too. Good job, Cody. I saw Cody going hard. I almost said Chody. Yeah, I saw Chody going hard in the Discord. Oh, God. And Cody requested draw over on that, or feedback on that. I wanted to give some feedback on that. If you're interested in the Discord, it's one of the ways you can support. All right, I don't usually do this, but I should really start doing this more. I should start explaining how people can support, asking for help. My therapist says that I should be more comfortable asking for help. The things that I do here on these streams and on this channel are very not, they're not marketable. They're not clickbaity. They're not the kind of thing that's ever going to succeed on its own on YouTube. They're just not like that. I don't go for trends. I don't go for telling lies in the titles or stuff like that. Like, you know, actually on the stream titles, yeah, I'll tell as many lies as I want. But on the video titles, I'm pretty straight up. And yeah, they're not marketable. I don't do stuff that's for the masses. So the only way that this channel has ever grown and that it will keep growing is word of mouth. So if you like it here, if you like what we do here, mention it to a friend. That's the only way this is going to keep going. Tell them to check out the streams or send them a video. And yeah, if you're not subscribed or anything like that, there's an old saying, like and subscribe. That helps out too. If you want to support a step up above that, you can go to the Patreon. That gets you into the Discord, like-minded community in there. And that's a great way to support. You get into the Discord permanently if you just support for 1 month. You know, you don't get booted or anything like that. I'm thinking of opening the YouTube memberships as well, so that would get you into the Discord as well. And if you really want to go nuts and give the huge, big old support while getting a lot of education in the meantime, you can check my course, formfromimagination.com. That's my love letter to form. Huge curriculum, a lot of videos. And I've got a course on design fundamentals on the way. There's a feedback version of the course where I give you feedback on all, I think the assignments are, I forget if the assignments are 28 or 29, but almost 30 assignments. The community in there is great. If you get the feedback version, you also see all the past feedbacks as well that I've given, of which there is, whoa, there's a lot. And the community just got updated, so there's going to be a video room in there soon, so you guys can do homework together in there if you like. And yeah, I've got another one coming out soon. But yeah, let me think. Is it bored? Man, I just appreciate you guys all being out there drawing and keeping the beautiful practice of art alive, especially in these troubled, benighted times. Grobart says, is the course seasonal, or can we sign up whenever? You could sign up whenever. It's been whenever since I launched it. It might need to go seasonal at some point in the future, just based on what happens in my life. But it's always been just sign up whenever, and you do it at your own pace. You know, whenever you have an assignment, you submit it. You know, I'm doing, even when I'm not streaming and stuff like that, I'm doing feedback on the course every week, you know. So whenever you have assignments, you submit them. It takes people a long time. I don't think anyone has done, only a handful of people have made it all the way to the end. And I think, I don't think anyone has done it in less than a year. It's a lot of work. So you do it at your own pace, you know. Did Joe get better at drawing from imagination? You bet. You bet. So as always, I also just appreciate you guys being here, talking in chat, drawing along, asking questions. It keeps it fun for me. And I will be back again very soon. You know, I went through my disappearance period where I needed to keep my head down and work for like the past 3 months. So if I'm here, it's because I'm trying to make the disappearance period be over. No more disappearance. So I'm going to start signing off here. If anybody has any last questions or anything like that, you let me know. Goodbye to Stratovolcano. Goodbye to Kyokusei. Goodbye to Bye for Real. Goodbye to Nika. Goodbye to Burnt. Goodbye to Orange Fruit 9711. Seth H. Paper Moon says, what are your favorite manga artists? You guys know I'm not that big of a fan. Because I'm not that big of an anime fan, not that big of a manga reader, naturally, the ones that I know, like the ones I've been hugely impressed by are naturally just the most famous ones, you know? So, Kentaro Miura of Berserk. Who's the guy who does One Punch Man? Is it Yusuke Murata? Do I have that right? You know, just because I'm not deep in that world, of course, it's the biggest sort of, you know, the people who attract the most attention. Those are the only ones that I know, you know. Think, who's the person who does Witch Hat Atelier? They're awesome. Witch Hat Atelier is beautiful. Goodbye to That Artist, Paper Moon, Nika, Sick the Wolf, Mr. Soon, Stratovolcano, AEIOU, Paper Moon, Cody, Palace B, Lorenzo Lopez, Ernesto, Sant'Angelo Regalado, art form. Goodbye to Akabotan, goodbye to Rip Pup, goodbye to Tet, Snooch, Froggy, Hey Spoon, That Artist. Nika, Context Studio. Context Studio says, how can I conquer my mind? Go inward, my friend. Go inward. Ask yourself the question, how did I find myself in this adversarial relationship? What does that mean? Conquer my mind. How could that be possible? Investigate. Investigate. Hey, Bill says, this channel inspires me to do art. Truly special YouTube channel that needs to continue existing. Thank you. I appreciate it. Help me keep it existing. Keep commenting, keep showing up to streams. I really appreciate it. Goodbye to AEI and you. Did I miss anybody? I hope not. All right, goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Bye. And that's where we'll cut it.